Hi, I'm Caroline Grogan, and I conducted my study on the influence of undergraduate background on science teacher self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is a person's personal beliefs about their skills in a particular area. Self-efficacy to teach is an important element of effective teaching as it influences teachers' classroom practices. Self-efficacy can be influenced by experience and subject matter knowledge. The critical need for science teachers in the U.S. has led to secondary science teachers having many different academic backgrounds. Undergraduate studies in both traditional teacher education and science present advantages for teachers in their self-efficacy. Teachers with science degrees have stronger science subject matter knowledge, which can improve their self-efficacy, but teachers with education degrees have stronger pedagogy and classroom management knowledge, which also can increase self-efficacy. It is the goal of this study to shed light on factors that influence science teacher self-efficacy and competence, including areas of study in college and teaching experience. Understanding these influences can inform future policy on training teachers. This study seeks to answer three questions. Does undergraduate major influence middle and high school teacher self-efficacy for teaching science? Does experience influence teacher self-efficacy for teaching science? And finally, for teachers who have an undergraduate degree in science, does their area of specialty influence their competence in teaching particular science courses? The data for this study were collected using an online survey. The survey included the Science Teacher Efficacy Belief Instrument version A, also known as the STEBI-A, which was designed for use with in-service teachers. Ranking of competence for teaching particular secondary courses, and demographics. The demographics included gender, location, experience, undergraduate major, and classes taught. The sample for this study included 110 teachers, 18 of which are males, 92 of which are females. They come from 34 of the states, and for highest degree obtained, 25.5% obtained a bachelor's degree, 65.5% a master's degree, 2.7% an educational specialist degree, and 6.4% a PhD. This sample included teachers with all levels of experience, with a high concentration in the 20+ years range. 20% of the teachers sampled got an undergraduate degree in education. 79% of the teachers had an undergraduate degree in science, 0.9% a degree in engineering, and 7.3% studied topics outside of education and science. The survey was converted into an online survey format using SurveyMonkey. Requests for participation and the link to the survey were emailed to local teachers and Global Prize cohorts 1, 2, and 3. Requests for participation and link to the survey were also posted in science teacher Facebook groups of the National AP Biology Teachers and NGSS Biology Teachers. To assess self-efficacy of the teacher sample, the STEBI-A was used. It is a 25-item instrument with responses on a 5-point Likert scale, 5 being strongly agree, 4 agree, 3 undecided, 2 disagree, and 1 strongly disagree. It includes negative items whose scale must be reversed for analysis. The STEBI-A also encompasses 2 subfactors, personal science teaching efficacy, PSTE, and the science teacher outcome expectancy, STOE. For the purposes of this study, the total self-efficacy of the STEBI-A is calculated and the PSTE score. To assess competence teaching particular courses, respondents were asked to rank competence teaching specific classes on a 3-point Likert scale, 1 being not confident, 2 slightly confident, and 3 confident. Data on self-efficacy and confidence along with the demographics were compiled by SurveyMonkey. Data was exported from SurveyMonkey into an Excel file where open-ended responses were coded. Specific science and other majors were coded in general terms as life sciences, chemistry, physics, earth science, and other. The Excel file was then uploaded to SPSS 22 for analysis. Negative items on the STEBI-A were recoded to have the opposite scale of the positive items. Scores of total efficacy for teaching science were calculated by summing all SWA items for a max score of 125. Scores for the PSTE subfactor were calculated by summing responses for all PSTE items for a max score of 65. Scores for competence in teaching particular subject areas were calculated by summing responses for the life sciences and the physical sciences. Total self-efficacy for teaching science and the PSTE scores between majors was analyzed using the Kruskal-Wallis test. No significant differences were found for self-efficacy between undergraduate majors and an alpha level of 0.05. These findings do not agree with the findings of other researchers. The possible reasons for this will be discussed in the limitations. Due to total self-efficacy and PST scores not showing a linear relationship with experience, experience was collapsed into groups for comparison. Group 1 was 0 to 5 years of experience, Group 2, 6 to 10 years, Group 3, 11 to 15 years, Group 4, 16 to 19 years, and Group 5, 20 plus years of experience. The Kruskal-Wallis test was also used to look for differences between experience groups for self-efficacy with an alpha level of 0.05. No significant difference existed between experience groups for the SWA scores. However, significant differences were found to exist between groups for PST scores with a significance level of 0.037. To determine which groups significant difference existed between for the PSTE, post hoc analysis was run using the Mann-Whitney U-test. To avoid increasing the chances of a type 1 error, Bonferroni adjustment of the alpha was conducted for comparisons of the most likely to differ groups, Group 1 to Groups 4 and 5, reducing the alpha level to 0.025. Significant differences were shown to exist between novice teachers in Group 1 and both of the high experience groups 4 and 5, with significant levels of 0.009 and 0.011. These findings agree with the findings of other researchers that experience has a definite effect on self-efficacy of teachers. An attempt was made to analyze the data to answer the third question about how area of specialty based on specific undergraduate major influence the competence of these teachers to teach particular science courses. However, the sample collected was heavily skewed towards life sciences. Of the 93 teachers who provided specific majors, 76 of them studied the life sciences, and only 7 studied chemistry, 1 studied physics, 4 studied earth science, and 8 studied majors outside of science. Because the sample numbers are so small for most of these groups, any differences in competence would be highly suspect. Therefore, no analyses were performed on this data. The study has a number of limitations, the first being that the sample is one of convenience and may not represent the actual teacher population in the United States. The sample collected is heavily skewed towards science majors, with only 20% of those sampled having majored in education. This makes the conclusion that there is no difference in self-efficacy between education and science majors a weak conclusion. The science major sample was also heavily skewed towards life sciences, therefore no conclusions could be drawn about the influence of specialty. Another factor possibly skewing the sample was the sources of participants. Most of the respondents came in contact with the request for participation through the Global Prize PhD program and teacher support communities on social media. It could be argued that both of these groups are skewed towards teachers who are very confident in their teaching abilities as they pursue higher degrees and/or teach advanced placement courses. Both of these groups tend to attract people who are very dedicated to their work. The final limitation is that a self-reporting instrument was used to collect data for which participants may not have answered honestly, providing answers that they think the researcher is looking for or answers that make them look better. This study adds to the body of knowledge on self-efficacy amongst science teachers. It has the potential to shed light on whether having an education or science degree makes for a more confident and effective science teacher. This study indicates that there is no difference in self-efficacy between teachers who follow the traditional teacher education route and those who study pure science. This conclusion, though, is weak due to the sample being skewed towards teachers with science backgrounds. Further research with a larger, more evenly distributed sample are needed in this area. This study also indicates the importance of retaining teachers with experience, as they are the ones who have the highest self-efficacy for teaching science. The findings in the study indicate that science teachers who have been in the profession for 16 or more years have significantly higher content, knowledge, self-efficacy, which may be linked to better performance in the classroom and higher achievement amongst their students.